Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is the Central Florida Computer Society, the Windows Special Interest Group known as the WinSig. It's Sunday, October 11th, 2020. I'm Huey Poplock, and we've got a nice crowd started for this afternoon. And we're going to continue on for those of you who want to stay longer, the main meeting of the Central Florida Computer Society with a presentation from Judy Tallur on your digital heritage and things after you're gone, things to prepare for, and then things what happens after you're deceased. She's going to be talking about that, but that'll come after my meeting. And today we do have a full schedule. And what I am going to do first, let me go ahead and stop my share. And so everyone can see me. It just started raining outside. Hopefully we won't have any issues with power. I do have a UPS, but that doesn't mean the internet could go off, but we'll see. Anyway, welcome. Glad you're here. And I've got quite a few things. Okay, it says I might be overmodulated. Then I can handle. Just let me audio settings. And oh yeah, the volume is turned way up on it. All right, whoops, come on down. Level.
Don't you have an auto setting?
Yeah, I just changed that and it's all the way up, and I don't know. Automatically I just did that, suppress background noise. All right, well, is this any better?
Sounds
Same.
good here.
Same? Okay, well, I'll have to play with it a little bit. Let me move this just a hair. Do one more thing. We are, let's see, I am recording, but I'll cut this out. No, I won't let me adjust the volume level. Well, I apologize, and I'll have to work on that. I don't want to take the time now. Anyway, so let's go ahead and share my screen. We got a lot of things on the agenda for today. And screen share. And of course, we always do this from the list that I post on the WinSig channel or on the WinSig part of Huey.net. We go to WinSig, go to this year, and go today's notes. And there's a list, and let me make it bigger. First thing I'm going to talk about today is the Windows Store, and I'm going to open up my notes from here. And let's find the Windows Store. Whoops, wrong place.
One more. No, you missed it below. Come down. Whoop, you're going past down. You keep missing it. Two more. Next, that's
Here
it.
we go. There we go. All right. And let's do this. Okay, the Windows Store. Apple has their App Store. Google has Google Play. And there's an Amazon App Store. All of the big dogs in the online world want you to download your software, games, books, music, and so on from their own ecosystem. Microsoft was slow to adopt the store concept, but the Microsoft Store seems to have reached a critical mass. And here's what you need to know. First of all, what's in the store? Today, we're going to look at the Windows Store. Like others, it's a place where you can download not only software, but many other forms of media. Windows Store started in 2012 with the advent of Windows 8, but didn't gain much traction until Windows 10 started to get a foothold. The store is rapidly filling with universal Windows apps that can run on any Windows 10 device, desktop, laptop, tablet, phone, or Xbox. Microsoft thoughtfully put the Windows Store icon on the taskbar of Windows 10, and of course I took it off, and you can too. It looks like a shopping bag complete with handles and has the 4-pane Windows logo on it. When you first open the Windows Store, you'll notice it includes games, movies, and TV programs and productivity apps. We're going to take a look at it in just a moment. In the upper right-hand corner of each screen is a search box in case you're looking for a specific title. And let's take a look at our, let's see, hit escape and minimize this. I'm going to open here, and I have it right here. There's the little bag they were talking about. That does come by default to be in your taskbar, but if you right mouse click it on your taskbar, you can unpin it from your taskbar. At least leave it in your start menu like I have it. If not, you'll have to go into your files here, go down to M for Microsoft, and you'll find the Microsoft Store there. When you click on it, in any place, this is what comes up. I'll full screen it so you can see all of it and without a lot of other things. As you can see, there are some ideas of some things they're trying to push. There's gaming, entertainment, productivity, and deals. And as it was mentioned in that article, you can search here and then type in what you want to. So if you're looking for something for video editing, for instance, you can find all kinds of programs. Now, whether they're any good or not, one of the things you want to look at is the ratings, and then the number next to it are the number of reviews. So you might, before you install it, especially in Windows, you want to take a look and see if it's something you do want to install. Most of these you can see here are all free. It doesn't mean everything in the store is free. For instance, you can install Microsoft 365. Mine will probably say it's already installed. Or it might just, yeah, it's $69.99 a year. Buy and download, buy now for so much a month. So if there's a cost involved, it will tell you. Otherwise, it'll say get or download, and you can download what you want. Flight Simulator is not free, but you can get it from the store. And there are several other things. There are top free apps, trending. Some of these are ones that are showing that are free. And then you can look for games and other things as well. So it's a place to go look to see what's available. And again, be very careful. Microsoft Windows is not the easiest to uninstall things, and it's not always a good idea just to install and then uninstall, because sometimes it leaves garbage around and so on. So it's not something to do on your own just to see what something is. I would go ahead and look at the reviews, go to the website, do some searching, see what other people say before you install something you know nothing about or that you read in an article. So the next thing on our list is what's new in Windows 10 20H2. So let's go back here. What I ought to do is keep these things so they're the same title, so it makes it easier for me. And it's right here. Now, the new Windows updates twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall. The spring, if you remember, it was 2004, which meant it was the April edition. And I think it was April or May before it came out, and it was supposed to be in March. So I have not seen a date when the new version of Windows 10, the update from 2004 will be either 2010 or 2011. but it also may be called 20H2, which means the second quarter or second half of the year. But what's going to be new in this new version? Tick tock, tick tock. Yeah, that's the sound of Microsoft's update servers counting down to the public release, also known as the October 20th update. But here it is, the middle of October, and I'm not even seeing a date when they're going to release it. But it's an accurate description of the new release cadence for Windows 10, with each tick representing a major release of the first half of the year and the tock marking the release of a minor update in the second half of the year. So this isn't going to be a big update. I know the update for 2004 took me about an hour and a half to do the update. And I know some people said it was many hours. Other people said it was a little bit less than that. But the one for the second half of the year is supposed to be, if you've got the 2004 version, it's going to be a fairly quick install or update. If you don't, it's going to have to do both updates, and it will take you considerable time, so plan on it. If you're going to do the update, no matter whether you've got the 2004 or you're still on the 1909 version or even earlier, please back up before you do the updates, just in case. Your computer knows if you don't have a backup. It knows. And so you want to make sure you do, so you're less likely to have an issue. Microsoft released the version 1909 as a small enablement package that took only a few minutes to download and install on systems that were already running version 1903. Version 20H2, or the one coming up sometime this month or next month, is following the exact same playbook, just as it did last year's second half release. One of the things that will be available as an optional update, meaning you'll have to explicitly choose to download and install it, unless your device has reached the end of support for your current Windows 10 version. The update is optional for most Windows 10 users. The most obvious change, of course, is the name of the release. The previous version, YYMM, naming convention has resulted in 2020's first release appearing as though it was released 16 years ago. So people were confused when they say version 2004. They're thinking, oh, wow, it's an old version. So had Microsoft stuck to the same naming convention, the H2 version number would have been either 2009 or 2010. So instead, the company changed the way back the labels, feature updates to use H1 or H2, where the month number used to be. After the upgrade, this is the version information you'll see in the About pages. And let's see if I click this. Come on, I don't want that. It's going to look like this with the H2, 20H2, but we don't know when that's coming. Once again, the version numbering following last year's playbook. Let's see. There's going to be build numbers as well. On a PC that's already running version 2004, the upgrade takes just a few minutes, as I mentioned. Upgrading from an older version, it's going to take, they say, normal 20 or 30 minutes. As I said, it was, mine wasn't an older hardware, or wasn't that old, and it still took about 2.5 hours. And I know some people who it took 12 and 13 hours and more. Because this is an H2 release, businesses that have deployed Windows 10 Enterprise qualify for a greatly expanded support lifecycle of 30 months. That's not us. The new Microsoft Edge is a default. This will be the first edition of Windows 10 that automatically includes the new Chromium-based Microsoft Edge browser instead of the legacy version. So if you haven't already updated to the latest Microsoft Edge, which is Chromium-based, Chrome-based, some people call it Credge. When signing into a new account, you're promoted to complete the setup of the new Edge with no trace of the old browser visible. And Internet Explorer should be gone from your system. And if it isn't, don't use it. There are a lot of security issues with it. The Start menu, notification and taskbar tweaks. Beginning with its release, the visual design of the Start menu changes, dropping the solid colors behind tiles and replacing it with a partially transparent background. It's particularly nice refresh to the scrolling apps list, helping the program icons stand out much in the same way as favicons identify tabs in a web browser. So it's going to look something like this. Let's bring it up a little closer. So it's going to look more like this. Removing the color background boxes allows icons in the app list to stand out. The one on the left is the current version, and the one on the right will be the newer version. So it's going to, this is what it looks like now. This is what it's going to look like. So notice that there's a solid background here, and there isn't here. BFD, right? Meanwhile, Microsoft promises a cleaner, more personalized out-of-the-box experience, specifically pointing to a simpler default taskbar layout. The change is only visible when setting up a new account. When I tested this feature, I noticed, this is from the writer, not me, I noticed one encouraging sign: a handful of games and third-party apps were all stuffed into a single folder on Start, making it possible to unpin that folder and remove its clutter with 2 clicks. In that same vein, you'll find some minor changes to the way notifications work, including an X in the upper right corner of every notification, allowing you to immediately dismiss it. Changes to settings. The About page gets links to some older utilities that were previously only available from the control panel. It also gets big copy buttons beneath the device specifications and window specifications sections, making it easier to share that information with the support tech. Whoops, it keeps opening that, but this is what it's going to look like. And somewhere there's supposed to be a copy button as well. Effective with version 20H2, you can change a display's refresh rate without needing a third-party utility. You can also find a new group of settings under System Multitasking, where you can decide whether to show an individual browser tab when using the Alt-Tab task switcher. You can choose to show only the primary tab, the 3 or 5 most recently visited tabs, or all tabs. Note that these changes don't affect what you see when the Windows key plus tab shortcut to access the timeline. On the advanced display settings page, you'll find a new option to change the refresh rate. Probably most of you don't understand what that is. I'm not sure how to describe it to you. So probably not going to make a big difference for you. Changes to tablet experience in the 2-in-1 devices. Microsoft is going to change the way that works. And probably that doesn't, most of you, it doesn't affect. And then there was one other thing about the Start menu. It's going to look a little bit different. So let's take a look at it. In this article, Windows 10 Start menu is getting a visual refresh. And let's take this. So you can see the before and you can see the after. And I believe this is supposed to be, well, it's an animated GIF on the page. But there it is. So this is what it is after and before. So it's going to have a little bit different look to it. Again, is this important to you? Probably not, but it does make it a little, you might like it, you might not like the change. Subset of insiders also have access to the Microsoft Edge. Okay, most of you are using, I hope, the new Edge, and if you're using Edge at all, but I use Chrome, which is, the two of them are quite similar. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing, see if there's any questions, any comments on what's coming. I know we've got a few people that do Windows SIGs for their groups. Anyone here testing the update. I don't do that. I like to stay with the current version. Bob, what do you find? You're muted.
Mostly cosmetic, nothing really fancy or earth-shattering in the new version. And for
It
me,
works.
yeah, it works. And for me, cosmetics don't mean anything. So
Yeah, that's what I basically said too. It's not a big deal. Sometimes you like the changes. Sometimes because it's change, you don't. So
And as you mentioned, Huey, the installation, I was one of those guys that took overnight, plus then all the changes, the updates after it was installed. Not the 2020, but the April one.
yeah, and what you'll find though, if you do the fall one, it'll be a lot quicker.
I'll just
Hopefully.
wait on the fall. I like
Yeah,
to
you
wait 4 or 5
you like
months.
to wait anyway. Yeah, so I'm sure of that.
The major part of it that you can update is the start menu, and you can do that with a registry hack. It's already there. You just have to turn it on. So even that's only in the 2004 version, but you can turn it on with a registry hack.
I don't. Most of the people here and most of the people that I work with, I don't recommend going into the registry. I don't do it. I get nervous. So yeah, if you're one that when you go into the registry and you're comfortable doing things like that, always back up first and always back up the registry first. But I don't usually say, yeah, go in and play with the registry. Because that's what runs, that's the controller for your entire Windows machine. And not a good idea if you don't know what you're doing. Even if you're following somebody's script, because sometimes they leave out steps or presume that when you do this happens and that you need to push this button and they don't tell you that. And then all of a sudden you're in the middle of something and not a good idea, I don't think.
or there's a typo in the script.
Yeah. Well, that's how I learned my first computer in the early 80s. There weren't any programs. There was no place to find programs. So I had to find magazines and type in the coding of BASIC. That's how I learned the basic language, by typing it in and then trying to figure out all of the typos that they had so I could make it work. So, if there was a colon instead of a semicolon or the other way around and it wouldn't work, I got used to, that's not working. Let me try a semicolon instead of the colon there. And then it would work. So I would one line at a time would troubleshoot. So, so typos are not, don't discount them when you're following somebody's script on how to do something. And I'm going to talk more about that as we talk about Windows on a Chromebook and my experience with that earlier. Okay, so let me share my screen again. And go back to where we are. So we're down to the Chrome Read Later now reading list, now called Reading List. I tried to see if this would actually work. And what I found is that article, and let me bring up the article. Whoops, it's here. And after I put this in the list, I realized it said in the article, which was just a week ago, or a little over a week ago, when we first started hearing of the new Read Later feature being worked on for Chrome, I was initially very excited. This is from the writer of this article. But as I read the next paragraph, it says, as this service has come closer and closer to launch, I found it won't be the case. No, it is not available. So I tried to play with it, and I said, well, wait a minute, it's not working. I don't even know what they're talking about. It sounds like something I will be interested in, but it's not available yet. And so I would imagine it's going to be in Chrome 87 because I've got Chrome 86 and it's not there. Now, when I say Chrome 86, I am talking about the Chrome browser. And let's show how you find out what browser you have. Is I'm using Chrome, and you go to help and about Google Chrome, and you want to look here. Mine is 86.0.4240.75. That's the latest version, according to Google, of the Chrome browser. On my Chromebook, I'm in version 85. And that should be updating, I hope, in the next couple of weeks, which will then allow me to have Chrome 86 browser, as well as 86 is the version of the operating system. So it gets confusing, but it's probably going to be in version 87, or it might be later. It still might be just an update to 86, where this will become something that you'll be able to utilize. But what they're talking about here is, let me go back to the article. And the service now goes by the name Reading List. So let's see if it explains what that is for you. You now have a couple of groupings of items you've placed into the list. What you can do is you can build a reading. When you go to a website, I want to read that later, you can build a reading list and then go back and look at it. And that's what they're talking about. And there's also going to be some things where you can group tabs and then open that group together, save them as a group, and then always open them together. And I'm going to show you something that I found an add-in for my Chrome that I use as well here in just a few minutes. Next on our list is, let me find my list, is find conversation and calculating tools. Oh yeah, this was an interesting find for me. Here. And I didn't mute everybody, and I probably should have. Sorry about that, folks. I'm going to go do that before I do anything here. Whoops. No, I got to do it over here. Okay. What I wanted to, I lost my train of thought because I was trying to mute everybody. I wanted to find that other thing here. It's called converteverything.com, but I was doing a presentation for the Tech for Senior show that we do every Monday, and I was talking about the download speeds and how they've changed over the years. And I wanted to figure out how long it used to take to download things. And I found this handy tool at this website that I could type in whatever size file I want. Let's say I want a 5 megabyte picture, which is not unusual for a picture, for a photo that you take with your phone. If you had a 1200 baud modem, for those of you who go back to those days, to download that 5 megabyte picture would have taken you 9 hours and 42 minutes, almost 10 hours. At a 14.4 modem, it would have taken about 48 minutes. And with a 56K modem, it would have still taken you 12 and a half minutes. And these days, of course, it's a lot quicker, and it's a matter of seconds. And you now have a 5 megabyte picture. We think nothing of downloading a 5 megabyte picture. But the whole idea of what I'm trying to show you is this website called Convert Everything. By the way, I love their little animated GIF at the top here. But show by alphabet, you can convert almost anything you ever wanted from this website. Day and number of weeks, the days of the week, how old somebody is, electric capacitance. Browse through this and find some things that might interest you. How old are you? Let's make up a date because I don't want to. But let's say you were born November 17th, and let's pick a year, let's say 1960, and then you click start. Your next birthday is in 36 days. You have been alive for 21,878 days and so many hours, and you've been alive for so many seconds. Is that important? No, but it's a fun thing to look up. Same thing with cooking volume and oven temp, cooking volume. So you can look up, if you got 3, see if I can do this quickly, and then maybe teaspoons, or 3 tablespoons. How many ounces is that in US? Convert, it's 1.5 ounces. So a lot of times you want to look these things up and you go searching for them. Here's one website where you can look for all this stuff in one place. Nice to have in your repertoire. Density, dog years. We always want to know how old your dog is. Enter your age. And you are how old in dog years. And as a dog, human age would be, and so on. Men's clothing sizes, there's all kinds of neat stuff. On that note, I got to clear my throat, so I'm going to give you a chance to ask any questions, and I'm going to. Any questions, comments? Anyone think they might be able to utilize that little everything calculator? I think it's a neat little website. Marshall, you're just saying yes, or you want to say something?
No, I'm saying, yeah, it's interesting because I keep track of family members and their ages. I do it in Excel, and Excel will calculate it, but that's pretty much all Excel will do in that regard, is the number of days that someone's alive, or years and months. So this looks like a very interesting website. Thank you.
Yep, you can waste a lot of time there looking at different things. And that's one thing a lot of us have had in the last 6 or 8 months, lots of time. Although we're getting out a little bit more, I think, but still lots of things to check out and see. Okay, let's go back.
Thomas has had his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that, but let me close this window here. Who had their hand up?
I was just approving. I like the site. It's a good site. That's it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Just try to share what I find, and I do find some really strange things sometimes. Okay, so this is the website. And let's see whoops, I shouldn't have closed that. Here's a little trick for you if you use the Google Chrome browser. I closed the browser and it doesn't warn you. But if you hold your Control and Shift key down and hit the letter T, all your tabs come back. And so I can just go back here, and I'm back here. That's, again, Control, Shift, and then hit the letter T one time. And it will reopen your tabs in your browser. And that's in Chrome. And probably in Edge as well. At least the Chrome-based one. Okay, next, how to copy text and not formatting Word. I don't know if a lot of you use Word or not, but I found this article interesting. You may have Word and not use it much, but here's a neat thing to use for it. Let's see, find the article. And then I'll show you in Word how to copy text but not formatting in Word. When you copy something from Word, it copies all of the formatting, and Word adds a lot of stuff in the formatting in the background. And so if you copy and paste it into your email, usually it looks terrible, and it wraps, and it's colored, and it's different fonts, and it's too big and it's too small, and so on. And you want to really just grab the text of it. There's some tricks that I use. One of them is I then copy it into my Notepad and then copy it again and then copy it back into what I want, and takes all the formatting out. But if you open up Word, one of the things you can do is you highlight the text you want to remove the formatting. If you'd like to remove it from all of it, just do a Control A, and that selects everything. And then there's a couple of ways in which you can remove it. You can, another method, let's see, you can go to the little button, and I'm going to show you how to do that, to remove all of the formatting. It does not remove the hyperlinks. You have to do that manually. Or you can do the Control A to do all, and then there is a different way. You can select additional options arrow found in the bottom right-hand corner of the styles group, and then go to the ribbon and find clear formatting. So what does all that mean? Let's see, in the Control Plus options, there's some things that you can do as well in this article. So it's a good article to take a look at, but let's go ahead and open up Word. And I'm going to take an article I wrote for the Tech for Seniors group, and I've got a bunch of formatting here. And so what it's saying to do is just come up here, and you can clear all formatting. But first, you have to do a Control A, which highlights everything. Now come here. When you click that, bingo, all of the formatting is gone. The larger fonts, the bold, and so on, that's all gone. But as I told you, that it does not remove the links. And what you have to do there is you highlight the link, right mouse click, and remove hyperlink, and it will take the hyperlink out. So if you're doing an article for something and you don't want it to be a link, you can do it that way. Or if you want it to be a link, what you do is you put your mouse at the end, click it once, and it will make it a link. It knows that it's supposed to be a link. Now, the other way in which you can do this is under here. Notice I came up here into the bar, and there's a clear formatting here, and you can do the same thing here. It does it the same kind of way. Any other tips or in Word that anyone has in this type of vein? In other words, how to clear things, how to change things, that anyone wants to mention? Let's stop sharing for a moment.
Use Print Friendly. It's an add-on to your browsers, and you can select, and it'll come up automatically, and you can actually delete pieces out of there that you want, and then you can select what you want, add it into your email, and take care of it. It's really simple.
So it's an add-on for which browser?
Actually, I think it can go on most browsers.
Okay, check your browser, see if it's there, and it's called again. Well, anyway, look for an add-on for your browser that can do the same kind of thing. Clear, it allows you to print without the formatting directly from your browser if you're on a web page, for instance.
Yeah, that's exactly probably the same one I'm using.
Okay. So let's go back. Let's see, I got to share first, or you're not going to see what's on my screen. How am I doing for time? I'm doing good. All right. And so we're going to close Word. I'm not going to save that. And go back to the website. And the next thing was Amazon drivers are hanging phones in trees. If you read this, you're probably saying, what the heck is he talking about? if you didn't read the article, especially. But let's take a look at that article. I thought this was interesting in this day and age. Come on. I laughed at this and I said, well, yeah, maybe it's not so funny after all. The Amazon drivers are hanging phones in trees to get more deliveries. They're gaming Amazon dispatch system is what they're doing. Amazon contract delivery drivers are so desperate for work, they've come up with a bizarre way to game the system. In other words, to work around the system and make more money. What they're doing is hanging phones in trees, according to Bloomberg. Like Uber, Amazon Flex lets drivers make deliveries in their own cars. Amazon's dispatch system can detect which drivers are closest to a pickup location and sends an alert to their phones when a package needs to be moved. With more people out of work, competition for those delivery gigs is fierce. And the jobs disappear quickly, so drivers who can respond quickly or are nearest to the delivery location have an advantage. And that's where the phone and the trees come in. People have been spotted placing phones in trees outside of Whole Foods, which is owned by Amazon, and Amazon delivery stations in the Chicago suburbs. The drivers who are in the scheme then sync their phones to the devices in the trees. Amazon's dispatch system detects that the tree phones are nearby and sends the gig offer to those devices. Drivers may be blocks away, but the notification comes to their phone and they can accept the job before the competitors. Some believe a person or group might be behind the tree phone scheme. They may be charging drivers to secure more routes, which would violate Amazon's policy. The mastermind or minds may also be hanging multiple devices from a given tree to avoid detection by Amazon. It wouldn't be the first time drivers found a workaround to Amazon's rules. I just thought that was, if there's a way to cheat at something and find a way to do something a little bit different or game the system, somebody finds it. And I just thought that was hilarious in some ways and kind of sad in others.
You read that they fixed that.
Oh, I would imagine after that article came out, I wouldn't be surprised. I didn't see the article, but thanks for letting me know. But I figured that wasn't long to be available as a way once the article hit. This next article that I have is not really an article, it's a website. It's called Free Video Editor Software. We were talking about video editing just before the meeting began. And I came across this in an article, and it's VSDC, or videosoftdev.com. It is actually a video editor. It's 64-bit, and it's free. And if you want the pro version, it's only $20. And I also did a search for the VSDC and coupon and found a place that had a discount. I could have got it for $13.99. For $14 and got it. I think it's a year, but I could have got a year of it. But it's you can download it. It's free. I have not done it. I use a program that's very complex. I don't want to learn another one because I'm using Camtasia from TechSmith. It's not cheap. It's not easy to learn, but there's lots of videos and a lot of training, and I spent a lot of hours working with it. So that's the one I've been using. But if you're looking for a good screen editor or a good video editor, this might be one worth trying anyway, for it's free. You can go to their website. There are lots of videos on their website on how to use it. And I looked on YouTube and there's a ton of them there. So I challenge any of you who want to do some playing with this. Let me know, and we'll talk about it at either the next meeting or a future meeting, what your findings are, and maybe you can show us some videos you made with it if you start using it. But I did want to point it out to you because I know several of you have asked me at one time or another, what video editing program would be good that's cheap? And we were talking earlier about the Microsoft one, and At the same time, what we discovered was, and I have not used it, and maybe some of you have, but if you go to your start window, you've got a video editor that's part of Windows, and I've never used it. And I don't know if any of you have or not. Feel free to open your mic and tell us, and if there's somebody, I'll go ahead and stop the share and we'll take a look and listen to you. I don't hear anybody. Okay. But why don't you I challenge somebody to try this one, and I challenge somebody to try the other one and see what maybe somebody can talk about it at one of these meetings. I don't have to do all the talking at these meetings. I'd love to have somebody else do some. So let's go back to my Google, and you know what? I did it again, didn't I? So, nope, that's not the one I want. Do I still have it open? Yeah, I still have it open. That's why I didn't do it. Okay, and then how to add a picture-in-picture to a video. That's just another article, and what it is, it happens to be, they're talking about the VSDC free video editor. So if it's something that you're looking to do to add a picture and a picture effect, for instance, you've got a video that you're showing, and you want a small picture of you in the picture, in the video while you're talking. This tells you how to do that within the VSDC video editor, but it also kind of explains how you might be able to do it in other editors as well. Microsoft has a new product that's free, and it's called Expressive Pixels, and you get it from the Microsoft store that I talked about earlier, and you just go and you click on Get, and you can install it. And what it is, it empowers people to create and express, connect, and share via animated visualizations in their own unique way. With Microsoft Expressive Pixels, users can make and show both static and animated images on LED displays and other digital devices such as a PC. And they've got some screenshots. So let's go to let's see. I found it. The best way to do it is to go to the Microsoft Store and go to Expressive Pixels is right here. And there are some screenshots. I don't think it's exciting, but some of you may find it fun to play with and create some pixels and some animated things and using emojis and so on. So it's another program for you to play with in your spare time and learn how to use, and let us know whether you like it or not. But it's from Microsoft and it is free, and you get it through the Microsoft Store. And the last article I'm going to talk about today, or at least I have on my list, is how to install Windows 10 on a Chromebook. I tried it. It did not work for me. I find that a lot of it involves using your Linux, so you have to turn on Linux in your Chromebook, so you have to have one that's capable of doing it. Most of the newer ones have that ability. And you have to have enough, you're going to need at least 4 gigabytes of RAM. If you've got 8, that's probably why it's not working for me. I only have 4 on mine. If you have 2, it definitely won't work. But the requirements are a powerful Chromebook, and you should have at least an i3, which I do, an i5 or an i7 processor. If you have 4 gigabytes of RAM, 8 would be nice, and 64 gigabytes of storage. I have 128, so I fit into that category. A Windows 10 or you can, or a Windows 7 ISO image, and you can download a fresh copy of Windows for free and there's a link in this article to get it. And you also have to have Linux support for your Chromebook, and that's built into, again, most of the newer ones. And you have to go to settings and then turn on the Linux And then what you end up doing is you end up having a Linux virtual machine and then install Windows in that machine. But the Chromebook should have KVM support, which is kernel-based virtual machine. I can't find out if mine has that. As far as I can see, it doesn't. And it does tell you in the article on some things to do, or it gives you some links to other articles on how to do it. And they all came up dry. I couldn't find out whether I had it or not. So I was able to get the virtual machine up, Linux working in a box there, but I didn't have the KVM, so I couldn't I didn't even bother to download the ISO or the Windows program and then put it in. This is not a dual boot now. This is opening up Windows within a window in a Chromebook. Wow. What a concept. Confusing. But it's supposed to work for some machines. But why do you want to do that is the question I have. The only reason I tried is because there are articles about it and people are talking about it. Maybe I can make it work. I couldn't make it work. If you're able to, please let me know. But there's a lot in the article. There's a lot of things that you have to type in the Linux portion that I don't have any idea. I don't know Linux at all. Linux to me is, if you don't know Linux and you run into a roadblock, to get help, most of it is talking in code that for people who know Linux, and I don't know it enough. Linux is nice if you just have a Linux distribution, you install it and it looks like Windows and it runs. That's nice. But to do things on the code level or on the Linux level where you're typing in commands, I'm lost. And so I will readily agree with admit that. And here you'll find out if your Chromebook has support for KVM. I could never get to that point where I could find out whether I had the ability to it or not. And I did some searches on it, and finding that is almost impossible. So any comments or questions about that?
Yeah, why?
Yeah, good question. I guess because you could. Maybe if you can. I don't know. I'm happy with my Chromebook. There's nothing in there. The only thing that I would want to run that's Windows on a Chromebook would not run because it won't run on a Chromebook because there's not enough memory. The video editing, that sort of thing would never run in a video window or a Windows window on a Chromebook anyway. So I am not sure. That might be a solution for Mike, who wants to run, was it Quicken, Mike?
Quicken, right?
Yeah, Quicken. It might work if he was able to get it. I couldn't get it going on mine, Mike. You have the same model I have. If you get it going, let me know.
One thing that I investigated was using a dual boot back then with Windows 7 and Chrome, and trying to set up my desktop to dual boot. And that never really wound up working the way it was theoretically supposed to work. Essentially making my desktop computer a Chrome box instead of a Chromebook, and then dual booting it with Windows 10.
This is Clint.
Yeah, Clint.
My understanding is if you turn on the Linux mode, it requires a reboot and it takes the performance hit on Chrome. So if you do that, you're going to end up with a slower Chromebook all around, including Windows.
Yeah, I would suggest if you're going to do it, make sure you've got one of the higher end machines that has 8 gigabytes of RAM. 2 definitely would not work, and 4, as you say, probably would take a pretty good hit.
Well, if you think about it, you got Chrome, then you're adding Linux, then on top of that, you're adding Windows. And so you got to be taking performance hits in there.
Gosh, yes. Marietta, did you have a question? Or are you just stretching? Okay. Just stretching. Okay. Yeah, I don't, if I feel like what I suggested to Mike earlier is, would be to go ahead and just have a separate machine for his Quicken and then use Chromebook for what he wants to. And a lot of people do that, and a lot of businesses are doing that same thing. The other good thing about a Chromebook is if you want to lend it to somebody, you just sign out and they sign in with their Google account, and they're up and running on your machine. They can't touch any of your stuff. You can't touch any of theirs. When they log out, you log back in, and you're back up and running again. It's that nice. And so that is an advantage. So if you got grandkids come visit you and they want to use your computer, well, you just sign out of your Google account on your Chromebook. And if they have a Gmail account at school using a Chromebook at school, all they got to do is sign in to your Chromebook with their account, and everything is populated. They can do what they want to do. They save what they're doing or play whatever they want to play or do their homework or whatever, log out, and all that's saved to the cloud, and they're done. And then you log back in and you've got your computer back, which is really a nice thing about a Chromebook. I've loaned it to a neighbor to try. I just logged out of mine. He went into his Gmail account. He played with it, and I let him use it for almost a week. And when he was done with it, he said, I'm going to go buy one. He signed out on my machine. He went and bought one. It took us about 30 seconds for it to boot up. We typed in his Wi-Fi. We typed in his Gmail address. Everything populated, and just like it was on my machine the week before, and all the work he had done and everything and tested was all there, and he was up and running in a matter of a couple of minutes with everything there. And so that's another advantage of a Chromebook. And there's something in a Chromebook called a power wash. And if something should happen and you need to go back to factory fresh, you do it by going to the settings and clicking on a button called power wash. It will take your computer back to the day that you bought it. You sign in, there's 4 screens. You put in your Wi-Fi, you connect to the Wi-Fi, you put in your address, you put in what country and what time it is, I think, and then you put in your Gmail account, sign in, and everything is back except what you saved on your local device. And mostly what you need to do, the one thing you need to do is learn how to move anything you've downloaded onto your local device, make a copy of it out on your Google Drive. So if you should have to do that, you don't lose a thing. But this is the Windows SIG, so we can't talk about that. Okay, got a few minutes here. Any questions? We've covered all of my items. I do want to remind you, tomorrow is Monday. Tech for Seniors is at 11:30. We open the doors. At 12 o'clock, we lock the doors. And from 12 to 1 is the Tech for Seniors show. Tomorrow is number 29. We've been doing it 29 weeks. Over a half a year of Tech for Seniors. I've got one of the things I'm going to talk about tomorrow is how to take some PowerPoint slides and make an animated GIF out of it. And we're going to do some other things on the show. And Bob G always has his security corner every Monday. And we do a music thing at the end. And if you haven't joined us, please do. And this coming Thursday is the Learning Chromebook monthly show that Ron and I started last month. If you need links to any of those, please either put it in the chat box or email me, and I'll send you the links to sign up for those. And or the Tech for Senior you don't have to sign up for, but the Learning Chromebooks you do. And I invite you to join us for those. And I also invite you to stay on, because Judy Tallur in just a few minutes is going to be talking about some things of interest for all of you. As I look around, it's important for all of you. And Stan, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm a little bit early, but unless there's some questions or comments.
Bob, check the chat, please.
Okay, let's see what we
Oh,
got
Bob.
here. Oh, Bob. Oh, there's a link to Print Friendly in the chat box. And that was the one that Don mentioned. Oh, I know. There's one other thing I want to show you, and I'm going to show you that here in just a second. Use Print Friendly on browsers. The Win calculator does a lot of different conversions as well. The Windows calculator that's built in. If I didn't talk so loud. No, I talk loud. Sorry about that. And what I was going to show you, let's do that. I want to show you an add-on I have for my Chrome. I am going to close everything here. Probably just should have closed it and just open it. Okay, so we've got that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, I have an extension, and here I have something that's called, where is it here? Launch, no, not launch smooth closing. Where'd it go now? It was here this morning. Wonderful. I'm going to close out completely and then come back in. And I'm going to close Microsoft Store. And we got it here. Let's try this one. Open multiple URLs. A lot of times I'll have a list of a lot of URLs, and I'll just put them in a text file, and I'll have them. So what I do is then I open up multiple URLs, and I just paste them into this box. So these are all of the links to the articles I just showed you. And then all I have to do is click this, open URLs, and watch. It's opening tabs for each and every one of those. So if you've got a whole list of things that you like to open at certain times for certain tasks or certain jobs that you're doing or certain times of the day or certain things that you do, make a list and you just use this extension, copy it in, and it's called list of URL. Let's see, extract, see if I can find the information on it. Open multiple URLs, it's called. And manage extensions, no, remove from Chrome options. I'm not sure. Just go into the extensions and do a search for open multiple URLs. I love it. I use it a lot. When I'm putting a list together, I'll save that list so I can't look at all of the articles today. I'll look at them tomorrow. I grab the list, I just throw them in, and it just opens all the tabs up. Just another little a little tidbit for all of you to end my part of the meeting today. So
I have a quick question.
Sure.
How do you unhide yourself? You can hide your.
In what?
In
Zoom?
yes.
Oh, what's happened?
I was looking at something and inadvertently said hide myself.
Oh, I don't.
Well, we see him now.
Yeah, we see you.
Just change your view back to the
Yeah, go to back to gallery. I'll have to check on that. And you don't see yourself? We see you.
Where am I located?
It's going to be different on everybody's screen.
Oh, okay.
I would look on the toolbar under more, and there may be a way to bring it back there. I'll have to check on that for you,
Okay.
unless somebody knows.
How many images are you seeing on your screen?
I
Well,
just
let me see.
I just hid myself, and I'm also gone. I went into participants. I figured I'd find it there, and no, it's not there either. So I'm looking to unhide myself also.
All right, we'll have to
And
figure
we
that
see
out,
that.
Marshall,
I'll have to sit tight until
until we find a
Bob
way.
finds us.
If Bob doesn't know and I don't know, it's a well hidden feature. I guess we unpin the answer as well.
Well, there's a lot of people that won't mind that they can't see me.
Oh, but we
Okay.
can see you. You just can't see yourself.
Yeah.
What you do is you go into your picture. Can't. If you go
You
into
can't.
three dots, is the three dots anywhere?
Nope. I don't see three dots anywhere.
What about at the top of the screen? When you mouse over the top of the screen, does it show up and say that you're hidden?
Okay,
Nope.
where it says view, go
Yeah.
up to where it says view, and there you'll find show self.
Oh, you're my
I'm back.
hero, Bob.
I'm
We're
back.
back.
All right. Well, we solved that one. That's what user groups are all about. You get the answers you want.
There you go.
You get a room full of people, and sooner or later, somebody's going to figure it out or know the answer.
All right,
And I
I'll
had
have
one
to
other
make
sug-
I'll have to make another video.
Yeah.
Thank
There you go. And I have another
So on
suggestion.
that note, I am going to share my screen one more time, and I'm going to bring this up. I got the right one. Yes. And I want to say thank you for joining. This has been the Central Florida Computer Society Windows Special Interest Group. Don't run away, folks. But for those of you who are in the audience, stand by because the main meeting of CFCS will start shortly. But this has been the Windows Special Interest Group for Sunday, October 11th, 2020. I'm going to stop the recording for my session.